Want to know what the 3 pearls of paradise in Italy is like? We're going to talk about that today. So the 3 pearls of paradise is Santa Margarita, Portofino, and Rapello. And we were on Celebrity Cruise, and so this was one of our excursions that we got to tour for those 3 areas of Italy in particular. And on Celebrity Equinox, we actually had to take the Celebrity Equinox small ferry orange boats. They're the orange small boats because you do have it's a tender port. So you do need to take, and they were small. So if you get motion sickness, you might want to take some medication ahead of time. We were fine. We sat on the outside of it. It was a little rainy and dreary in the morning that we were there. It was warm, but it was kind of more dreary, I would say, in the morning for sure. But keep that in mind that you'll have to take those kind of smaller ferry boats. And to get on the ferry boat, it was uneven, it was rocky because it's a small boat, so the boat was kind of rocking. So if you have mobility issues, you're really gonna wanna consider that or talk to somebody about that before getting on that ferry. Again, when you get to the port then, it's beautiful, it's walkable. You don't need, in our opinion, a formal excursion to do this, to tour Santa Margarita, in our opinion. We did do it, but we feel like you really didn't have to if you didn't want to. You will follow your cruise number, if you will, your cruise director, and really pay attention to that because it is very crowded. I will talk about, we did lose a passenger who got lost, and we had to find him. So because it is so crowded with narrow passages, and it's kind of a quick to see all 3 areas, so that also probably impacted that if you're having some mobility issues. There is a small beach at the port. So again, if you just want to take the free ferry over and just enjoy the beach and walk around Santa Margarita, there was lots of shops. And next time, if we did this again, that's probably what we would do because there was several shops and restaurants and a beach and all there, right there at the port. So then we walked and got coffee, and you got a free coffee at this particular excursion. We chose to not go with the crowd, if you will, and got our own at Cafe Mazzini, which was right there. And we had fresh bread, sandwiches, and we had coffee, and just kind of sat and enjoyed the atmosphere, and that was really, really nice. And again, this was the particular area walking back to get on the bus that we lost the passenger because you're kind of walking through, again, they're doing a walking tour of the area and you're walking through narrow alleys or passageways and it's crowded. There's a lot of people there. And so we had to take a turn and one of the passengers didn't realize we had turned. And so we get all the way back to the bus and the family realized he wasn't there. He was also having some mobility issues. Now this particular time, the bus did wait, but they were getting ready to leave. So I guess keep in mind that if you're doing the cruise excursions, they're responsible for you, right? And so they did wait for the son to go find his father and bring him back to the bus, but that wouldn't always be the case. There were beautiful churches and again, nice shopping and restaurants. Then we got on a ferry to go to Portofino. And Portofino was about a 10-minute ferry ride or 4 miles on land if you were choosing to walk it or drive it or take your own taxi. If you're finding this helpful at all, if you could please give me a like and subscribe, it really helps move my channel forward. So we got on the ferry for the 10-minute ferry ride to Portofino, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's just like picture books, right? It's beautiful. Very, very touristy though. When you get off of the ferry, and again, it is rocky as well, getting off the ferry, it's packed. We did get free time there. We got an hour and a half free time at Portofino. And there are designer shops like Louis Vuitton, Dior, right there in front. And then you can shop or look around Portofino. In our opinion, it was very expensive and very touristy. And honestly, I hate to say this because I usually try to be very positive, but I want to give you guys my honest opinion. We had the worst food of all of our entire trip. When we were there 2 weeks between Italy, France, and Spain, the worst food was here. Now we probably fell into the tourist trap of doing something that was close and did not do our best research. It was the Da Nicola Pizzeria. And they had bread, we had pizza, and we had fried calamari. It was extremely expensive, the most expensive meal that we got for what we got. And it was about a 5 out of 10. At best, it was average. And that was, like I said, probably a touristy place. We got there when it first opened. I think it was right at noon, and we were able to get seated, but there was a line to get in. And by the time like 12:15 happened, it was packed. There was a line. So it was very busy, but again, very touristy. I wish we had gone a couple blocks over and gotten more of an authentic experience, but it was what it was. Customer service, though, was fantastic. The location was fantastic. The atmosphere was very, very good. Just in our opinion, the food, not worth the price. Okay, we're in Portofino, Italy, and we just ate at the restaurant, Ristorante di Nicolole Pizzeria. Honestly, it is probably a tourist trap. We fell for it because it was close and we're in a hurry. I would personally give it a 4 out of 10. It was pretty salty, tasted fishy, didn't care for it. We had the calamari, the pasta, and the pizza. Jaden, what would you rank it?
Food is probably 5 out of 10. However, the aesthetic of the restaurant is probably like 8 out of 10. It looks nice.
And their customer service was good. Jackson, what would you give it?
I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10. The food wasn't the best, but the customer service was pretty good, and just the overall inside of the building looked pretty nice.
And from a location standpoint, again, it's right behind us. It's literally, the ferry is right there. So it's right off the ferry. So again, we probably should have walked a little more inward. But if you are wanting something to eat, it is pretty busy. So get there early when it opens up right at noon. So then we got back on the ferry and went back to port. And that was, it was nice. We were able to walk around again, the areas between Rapello and Santa Margarita. There was a long line to get back to the tender. So keep in mind, you got to tender back to the cruise ship, right? So there was a long line for that. So maybe grab a water, let the bus lines kind of settle down. If you need to, go shop, go check out the restaurants. But keep in mind that there will be a long line to get on the tender because the tender can only fit so many people. But again, lots of free time to roam those communities, to roam those beautiful towns. Again, would we do an excursion again? No, we would not do an excursion again. I don't even know if we could go back to Portofino again. We would go back to Santa Margarita. Santa Margarita and Rapello were beautiful, but probably, in our opinion, Portofino not worth it. But we're glad we saw it. So now we got back on the cruise ship and enjoyed the cruise ship. And next, we're going to be heading to France. So stay tuned for the next video as we talk about what was our experiences when we got to France. Here in the port of Santa Margarita from Celebrity Equinox, and we just got done with the 3 pearls of paradise, which is Santa Margarita, Rapello, and Portofino. You do have to take a ferry to Portofino, and just so you're aware, you do have to tender from Celebrity Equinox, and so the tenders are here. You can see them pulling in right now, and this is the line. So it is a very, very long line, although I think it's moving quickly, so just keep that in mind. If you have mobility issues, could be a challenge getting on and off the ferry and on and off. The tender wasn't so bad, but getting on and off the ferry, if it was wavy, had some people had some issues. So also it gets very crowded, so watch your tour group guide. We did have one person that we almost left behind because they got far behind, so keep that in mind if you come to this. Otherwise, basically you got some free time and walked around those 3 ports. If you found this helpful at all, please give me a like and subscribe. It really helps move my channel forward.